All right. Greetings, everybody. This is the last round of the Tuesday night October Swiss. I was having an okay tournament. One win, one loss, one draw. Had I played better against Mike Brown or eked out the draw or something like that, then maybe I'd be playing for prize money. But unfortunately, even if I was to win, and maybe I did, maybe I didn't, I would fall just short. It does seem as though I was on 1.5 points. Winning would make me 2.5. For the record, four people finished on 3 points. Meaning that, again, had I eked out a half point somewhere else, I would also be competing for prize money. Nonetheless, I show up and I knew that the pairings were going to get mixed and matched because Mike had told me last week that he was going to unregister. And the pairings did not reflect that in the week. So I just knew that I wasn't sure who I was going to play, so I did zero prep work, zero looking at lines. I thought I was going to be white because I've had two black and one white in this tournament so far, but it wasn't a given. Anyway, I show up early, play a blitz game. I beat Malia Alex Soto. I flagged him. The position was a dead draw, and I flagged him in the dead draw position. You know, blitz things. I'm still not sure if I play blitz, if it's a good mindset for my classical game, but I said, YOLO, whatever, let's do it. Anyway, I draw Patrick Colleran, and this is going to be my rant for the evening, so buckle on in, strap yourselves in. First off, the preface goes without saying, super nice dude. Hadn't really met him or chatted with him. Like, we'd said hello to each other at the club, but, I hadn't been like, hey, how's it going? So I got to talk with him. We analyzed the game together afterward. Another super cool dude, just like a nice person. Pretty gregarious. Before the game, he was like, "Hey, mind if I take smoke breaks? Like, I know it's going outside." I was like, "Dude, it's fine." And he's like, "Okay, I'm not cheating." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think you're going out there to like look on your phone." You know what I mean? Other than that, this is what I knew about Patrick. And by the way, Patrick Colleran is rated 1100. Now, for the record, I'm not exactly sure how he was able to play up. Again, this isn't like. I guess the rant here is nice guy. It wasn't like I have anything against him, but I don't love playing people that are like 400 plus points lower because you basically have almost nothing to gain and everything to lose. And I thought that there was a cutoff where you have to be within 200 points to play up. So I think because the 1310 is the lowest division, you have to be at least 1110 to play up. And I think Colleran was. I think in the thousands entering, and I put him as 1100 because I double checked the rating list, and he was 1100 entering tonight. But anyway, minor gripe. And the reason I say this is, I look at all the results, I kind of stow it away, and I saw last month or so, Patrick defeated one of the. There's like I played Zihan Zhang a few weeks ago, and I beat him. And I had mentioned that he has two daughters who are very good at chess. Like their ratings are like 1800 or 1900, something that's pretty high. I haven't yet played them because they're only in the open division. I haven't been able to graduate to the open bracket yet. Maybe after tonight I will. No, there's no way I could win the tournament, so you already know that going in, whether I won or lost. I will not be playing the open next month. Nonetheless, I had seen that this dude beat one of the girls. I think the better one, too. I think the higher rated one. Like, she was like high 1800s. I saw that like a month ago when I checked the standings or whatever, and I was like, what the fuck? Like a 1,000 rated player beat an 1850 or something? I was like, that's gotta be wrong. But it's not wrong. This dude took down somebody more than 800 points higher than him, which is outstanding. And anyway, so when I saw my opponent next to me, I knew that he had it in him. Basically, the capability of beating someone who, this girl is probably better than I am, to be honest and obvious. So I knew that if this guy was capable of beating her, he's very capable of beating me. Now, especially with the 400-point bucket, that, again, not everything's about rating, but I knew that this would mean that the game would be a challenge. It's not like going to be a slam dunk auto, hello, goodbye, but he'd put up some fight, given he beat somebody who is probably, in all fairness, better than I am, so he could clearly then beat me. Anyway, that's my rant as far as there was no opening prep, just sitting down being like, oh shit. I don't want to play this guy. Again, nothing against him as a person. In fact, as a person, super cool, awesome dude. Just as far as from a ratings perspective. Alright, anyway. We start with D4, D5. Pat, I think he said Pat is cool as far as calling him. Told me, basically, we both got, it's funny, we both got what we both like. He said he immediately just plays the Chigorin against everything. And I said, that's great. And I haven't actually run into that many people playing the Chigorin over the board. Yeah, so I was like pretty happy to play into it. Both of these moves are totally fine, as you can tell. So I went into this variation, if you will. And he plays bishop g4, the pin. I was considering turning the engine off for this recap, but I'm going to just leave it on because, like, whatever. I'm supposed to take... yeah, I'm supposed to take. All right, I didn't take. I told him I like playing the 3 knights, which I do. 1, 2, and then, oh, we're missing a knight here. So I just play knight c3, kind of without thinking. Interesting that knight bd2 is actually pretty good. It kind of breaks the pin that way. But I didn't do that. I played knight c3. Now, this is still book line. In fact, the main line. I didn't know it was the main line. But I know it's the main thing that I play. Ha ha ha. All right, he bangs out e6. We're both moving pretty fast in the opening. For the record, my opponent played very fast in general. Probably to his detriment, to be completely honest. But I'll check in on clocks later. I was spending a bit more time than him. And, like, this is one of those spots where where I had to think, do I take? I was considering playing, knight b5. I was considering playing bishop to f4. I was considering playing h3. I was considering playing a3. I wasn't considering either of these queen moves, to be honest. I know that they exist, queen a4 specifically. But I then played a3, and my idea was, again, it's pretty simple. This pin is oftentimes found against me. It's kind of annoying. I want to keep my knight alive, and now I have ideas of going to b5. Blah, 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 blah. It kind of restricts different knight jumps, because, again, those can be annoying. And we just go from there. Now, it is a bad move. I don't know that it was a bad move. I thought it was fine. But, just kind of showing what I did. He now plays d takes on c4. He had mentioned he kind of knows when he's supposed to take the pawn. I don't. I just kind of have to feel it out. Of course, the obvious play is to go e3. It's passive, but it locks up the center. It brings my bishop into play to immediately target the c-pawn. He can't play b5 because I'd be attacking it. According to the computer, you're supposed to trade, which I would have been totally happy with. But he doesn't do it. He's going to lean on this pin, and that's basically going to be the game, by the way. For the record, leaning on this pin. He plays knight f6, and it's kind of funny. He went from, like, the game had swung, it's the opening, but 0.1 his direction. This, like, loses, like, half a pawn, which is kind of shocking. It looks like such a natural, good move. The idea, of course, is you're trying to threaten the e4 square. If you can dislodge this knight, your pieces start becoming very active, blah, 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 blah. All right. In that in mind, I have a very obvious move. I play all my obvious moves pretty fast. I go bishop takes. I'm now trying to open the door to castle. Everything seems pretty, like, normal to me. He plays a6, which is a pretty good move. I mean, it makes sense. I think he wants to prevent any kind of repetitive pins. Thank you. Repetitive, symmetrical. That's the word I'm looking for. That wasn't really my idea. In fact, I was really thinking, am I supposed to maintain this diagonal if he threatens like a b5, or am I supposed to bring it back? I had made the mental note that I was going to bring it back. I wasn't sure if I was going to bring it to d3 or e2. Both seemed pretty good. Nonetheless, again, none of that happens. He plays a6. The computer doesn't like it. For the record, at the board, I didn't love it. I didn't think it was the greatest move. I castle. The computer prefers bumping him with h3 and then castling, but all this seemed like very normal. The computer gives me an excellent, wonderful. And when we arrive at this position, I'm actually already plus 0.6, which is kind of surprising. I'm thinking in my head, yes, I have a pin. Yes, this bishop is not great. But every time I'm in these positions, which is all the freaking time, I know that white always maintains a small advantage, so I'm feeling like over the board pretty solid here. Again, my opponent has used no time, and I haven't really been involved in any deep thoughts either. To me, it seemed like the natural move. The move that was trying to be played is this bishop d6. You want to be able to castle. The computer likes the h6 first. Again, I don't understand that prophylactic move because, well, my bishop is boxed in. So I don't really understand the point of that, but the computer loves that move. So again, those are computer things that I don't really get that, from a logic perspective doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, plays bishop d6. I did think this was the best move over the board. I'm trying to highlight when my opponents make good moves or bad moves or moves that surprise me or moves that surprise me but turn out to be great, And this was not the move that surprised me. This was my first... Oh, good, I played the best move. This was my first real think of the game. Excuse me. And I had to decide what to do. My king felt very safe. I didn't really believe any of these like sacrifices. You know, the Greek gift, correction of God, but to gift. Obviously, that's one idea that black might have. He hasn't castled yet, so there's always a way to open up the board. And I did look at d5. I didn't think d5 worked. I also was looking at e4 with the idea of pushing e5. I also didn't think that worked. Again, he always has this idea of sacrificing the bishop to open up the queen. So if I ever, like, you know, if I push and he takes and I take, do something stupid, he might have that sacrifice and then boom, he win a queen. Hopefully that makes sense as far as, you know, the d file. But I thought the same thing occurred. If I was to push e4 now, he could just take. Because I thought, again, then my d pawn and all those lines would be weak and he'd still have the sacrifice idea. So I thought I wanted to prepare that. And I thought to myself, well, if I want to play e4 with the idea of e5, slamming the book on his position, how can I do that? Oh, well, I have a rook. Let's move it over to e1. I also thought that he might shove b5, and I kind of had this long-term idea, hear me out, of transitioning to a Catalan-type structure. This pin is annoying, and rather than break up or try to chase him out with h3, g4, I had the idea that if he pushes my bishop back, if I cleared the space on f1, I can go bishop f1, g3 to get a fianchetto, and then put my bishop on this long diagonal and kind of transform the position to a Catalan-type structure where I'm breaking the pin and playing against this weak pawn. So that's what I was going through my head as far as the way I want to kind of coordinate my pieces. I also was thinking about playing b4 myself. A, to get my bishop to b2, to kind of like, you know, develop that way. But also B, to kind of take space, because I figured I'd be attacking on the queen side. Anyway, that's everything that's going through my mind. And so because of that, I play rook e1, thinking that I'm going to need that square. Again, rerouting my bishop like so, but also potentially threatening e4. That's pretty much it. I also thought there was some chance that I would position my bishop onto e2, and in those lines, it's nice to have my rook defending the bishop so that I can move my queen. Alright. Sometimes I'm just drawing random arrows. When I play rook to e1, he plays b5 himself, and he, like, launched this move out immediately, and I was like, huh, that's interesting. And I didn't, like, immediately spaz and play bishop to f1, because that was my idea, bishop f1. It's a very good move. Computer likes it. I'm proud of myself. But instead, before I just like yanked my pieces, just janking them, I thought to myself that this move seemed wrong. And I said, wait a minute. Can I just sacrifice? And I immediately start looking at the sacrifice. I say, all right, if I take, if he ignores it, I'm up a clear pawn. And I can just trade for the dark square bishop, which alleviates pressure and opens the door in the middle. Great. So if I take, he probably has to take back with the pawn. And I said to myself, well, is there another move, like, you know, retreating with a bishop? No, because then maybe his position becomes Swiss cheesy. I could always just move the knight back, and he'll have lost the pawn for nothing. If anything, it's a really important pawn for me, because I'll have the connected passers. So I thought he has to take. And I said, all right, if he takes back, I then obviously take with my bishop. And I was like, all right, I'm making use of this pin. It's a knight for 2 pawns, which is technically not great. But I'm attacking his knight. He can't castle. He's stuck in the middle of the board. He doesn't have an easy way of defending. He could obviously move his king up or his queen over. And I thought, I have this very simple move of just playing my queen to, again, you know, bear in mind that if this, to c2, that if my bishop is on this b5 square and I'm going to move my queen to c2, yes, he could trade, but then I would take, and I'm basically hammering 2 pieces. If he blocks with his queen, same deal. I would then take with my bishop, my queen would be supporting, his queen would be pinned to his king, it would be game over. If he moved his king up, I would then take with the queen. Same deal. I'd get a free piece, checking there, and honestly, probably like finding a way to like mate or just earning a instant resignation. So I looked at that and like I went through different possibilities, and I said, "Fuck it. I think he just lost the game. He's 1100. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy." And I played it. Again, I spent less than good. The computer gives me a brilliant. Thank you, computer. Again, I'm surprised it's only +1. Over the board, I was like, this game is finito. I said, GG! Nothing like that, but I was like, wow, this actually may be like a really easy game. I might be in and out of the club like pretty early on. Anyway, he doesn't waste much time. He plays A takes, of course. Not surprisingly, I follow up. I go bishop takes, and everything is looking gravy because again, I'm thinking to myself, how the hell is he going to defend this piece? The computer is even suggesting castling and just giving up the knight. Again, he'd be down these pawns and the knight. Shocked that the computer only has that as plus 1.3 because the game to me would seem over, but it's apparently not if he just kind of castles away from this. But my man doesn't do that. Pat, to his credit, again, when we went over the game, I told him, I said, I thought over the board that the game was kind of already over here. But he finds a way to generate some initiative and threat, and I want to give him all the credit he deserves. He made this game very interesting. Well, how does he make the game very interesting? Well, he plays the best move, of course. He plays bishop takes on h2. Now, did he plan on any of this? No. When we went on the recap, he said when he played b5, he didn't even see that I could take it with the knight. He was moving very fast. Honestly, he probably should have considered it, given his king was not safe. It's like one of the first things you want to look for are these sacrifices to get these super strong pins with the idea of applying more pressure. But nonetheless, he plays bishop takes. Now, obviously, from my position, when he plays bishop takes on h2, I was like, is there any way I shouldn't take this? No, I should take. And I calculated the whole time, take, queen to d6 check, move back, and I said, I don't see it. Yes, he's defending his piece. He's moved his queen up. He'll save the knight, but at the cost of the bishop for a pawn. I figured he would then castle, and then I would still probably play like queen c2 or something like that. He would move his knight, and I would just be significantly better. However, I missed a better move. And Pat, to his credit, finds it and plays very quickly after I take, because of course I'm going to take. He plays queen to d5, and this was the first time in the game I did like at least a 15-minute think. In fact, I was thinking he got up to go on one of his smoke breaks, and normally I like moving like right when my opponent gets up. I like moving because it's kind of like free time ticking off their clock, or they like don't actually go on their break and they have to like immediately keep thinking when they're maybe wanting to do something else, etc., etc. That's a small like psychology that I have. But this is one of the rare times that he went up to go to smoke break, and I didn't move right away because I actually really wasn't sure what I'm supposed to do here. I thought in my mind that I was winning, but the game is won. Again, according to the computer, it's not. A plus 1.3 is a big advantage, but it's nothing. It's not like the game's over. And the reason why I didn't know what to do, and you can see, is because I'm kind of hit over the head with a lot of options, but he has some real threat. He obviously has the queen to h5 sort of check idea. He wants to bring this knight on in, maybe swing it to h5 as well. I don't know if it really is going to f4 with my pawn on e3 there. But again, maybe his pieces are coming to life. He's still utilizing, kind of hemming-hoeing this pin. Maybe he monkeys the pawn forward. I don't know. So in my mind, obviously he's attacking the bishop. I needed to move the bishop. I did briefly consider a4, which did seem okay to me. And the reason why I think that this is a tough move is I thought taking is reasonable. I thought playing to d3 is reasonable. I thought playing to e2 is reasonable. I even thought playing to f1 might be reasonable, but I didn't want to like trap my king in and prevent my king from being able to just monkey and run. According to the computer, I should have played bishop takes on c6, but I thought that this bishop is this knight is pretty far from the action, whereas my bishop can be brought closer. And the only thing he has going for him is he has kind of the initiative. So if I was to slow him up, if I was to just basically survive for a couple turns, I thought that this would transfer my very clear advantage into a very clear winning position. So after 15 plus minutes, apparently I chose wrong. I played bishop to d3. My thinking for this move was very simple. This e4 square was great for his knight. I wanted to trade this bishop for this knight rather than this bishop for this knight. And I thought that with my bishop here, all is good. If he moves in, I would just trade. And nonetheless, I am thinking about still developing and getting into the game. For the record, as soon as I played this, he was still up at the smoke break. I saw that he had this clever move, knight to b4, and I very much regretted my move. Apparently, the computer doesn't love it, but I was actually very worried about that move. He ends up playing knight e4, which is not a great move. It kind of plays exactly into what I wanted him to do. But I'm just kind of curious if knight b4 is that bad of a move. It's not the greatest. Yeah, see, it's funny though. If he plays that, the computer suggests just moving the bishop again, this time to e2. As in saying, I made a mistake the first time around where I put it. Now I should rectify that situation and put it on e2. All right, that makes a lot of sense to me. All right, nonetheless, when he plays knight e4, kind of getting the dream setup, and I think to myself, great, this is an attacking piece. Yes, it's a bishop for the knight, but we should probably trade these off. Furthermore, I also thought that I would have, I didn't want his queen to be on this 5th row, because I thought that there would be some lines where we'd have the check on h5, and I always wanted to play king to g1, but if his king is in a different position, then maybe it's not so bad. Anyway, he takes with his queen, not surprising, and again, Pat has not spent a lot of time on basically any move. He is maybe not turbo playing, he's not like bulleting out moves, but I'm definitely slower than he is. Alright, after this, I look at the position. I say to myself, alright, I was tired of this like potential pin, coming on down. Again, you can't take because then you lose your rook. I thought the only piece that's really not doing anything, it's not in the game, is my bishop. So I said to myself, well, let's fix that. I play the second best move. Apparently I should play knight to d2. Immediately just trading. He would then take and I would take, which, again, fine. I play the second best move. I play bishop to d2. I do like my move. The computer only gives it a good, which is very, very typical of the computer. All right. After I play this, he castles. It's a fine move. In the recap, we both basically said that he probably needed to find a way to continue the attack, whether it was a rook lift here or like a pawn storm. Because I was definitely happy that he castled. Even though it's a very good move, he's kind of giving me breathing room. Not that I'm like, I have breathing room. I think I've got enough, but it is always a concern. At this point, after he castles, I play rook c1. It is the best move. It's kind of what I thought would be good. I'm bearing down on this knight. I'm trying to claim the half file. I figured that his c-pawn is a weakness, so even though I'm up one pawn, clear pawn, I thought that I potentially would be up more. Also, if I can ever distract this queen and a lot of those lines, this knight is then hanging. So yeah, that was my idea. He plays rook f to c8, and after the game, I told him, I said, this was like the first move you made that like I really didn't like. And it's just a bad move. I'm not sure what he's doing with it. He's technically kind of protecting the c7 pawn, but like only barely. He's just putting his rook in like a, honestly, really bad place. Like I don't get it. I thought it was just not a good move. Alright. Surely you guys can tell I'm tired as well. Been in an early schedule, but I really wanted to make this video, especially because I thought it'd be kind of a faster one. Straight from, oh wow, I'm already pumping on through. Straight from my chess performance to your computers. Alright. I then look at this position. I play the best move. Nice. I find what I think is a very, very tricky move. I play knight g5. You guys are welcome to look at it. It is the best move in the position. I feel very, very proud of myself. My thinking here was it's going to, trade queens. I thought in all the lines where he trade queens, his knight is under attack. If he tries to defend it, I have a very clear plan of doubling up and basically gunning on down to his c7 pawn. And I thought that most likely if we trade queens, I would win that pawn, and then I'd be up 2 pawns, connected pass pawns on the left-hand side of the board. That'd be a pretty easy win. Again, no stress, maybe low stress against someone who's like significantly lower rated than me. So I played knight g5. I had to calculate, of course, if there were any like checks or so. There aren't. Those squares are taken away. I had to see what would happen if he backed off, and I realized I would just be able to win his knight. Same deals if he moves it to f5. I was considering e4. Just kind of continuously just harassing his queen. Instead, once I played bishop g5, I calculated all of these queen moves or him just trading the bishop for the queen. He does the thing that so many people do that I just am not expecting, and he plays queen to f5. Now this is objectively a bad move, But it was a move that I was caught unprepared. And the reason why is on my turn, before I made the move, I was looking at e4. After he plays this move, I'm still looking at e4. It is the best move, so I'm really regretful I didn't end up playing it. But, I just thought I saw with e4. What did I think I saw there? Takes. Move there to defend here. Takes. I don't know. That's really good for me. I should have done this because I did see the move. I stuck to the old adage that some of us have or have given me, which is somebody who's significantly lower rated. Sometimes it's okay to just play safely. They'll make a lot of mistakes, or at least likely to. So I make the move to play back knight f3. I realize I've given him a free tempo, and I'm feeling a little bit ashamed of that. But it is what it is. Once I played knight f3, I missed it. For the record, I missed the move that I wanted to play that I should have played, which is e4. And the reason why is they recommend takes. I mean, this is just good for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, he has to move to b8 apparently. That's a pretty bad square for that knight. All right. Well, I should have gone into this. I did calculate this for the most part, so I feel a little bad that I just then went back. But sometimes when you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. Give them the tempo. It is what it is. When that happens, after knight e7, is that what happened? Knight f3, knight e7. Sorry, he moves knight e7. He's getting his knight out of dodge, is no longer attacked by the rook in all these lines, but I do have the half-open file. And when he gives me the half-open file, I think to myself, I should probably take it. I know that he has all these checks, or specifically on h5, and I thought, how can I take that away? And I find what I think is a clever move. It is also, arguably the best move in the position. I play rook to c5, and it makes sense. It's like I'm attacking his queen, he's got to move it. I'm taking away those queen squares. That's great. Easy peasy. So, he plays queen f6. Just a retreating move, It is what it is. I then play e4. And then over here, I was considering moving my king to g1. I thought there wasn't really anything there. I thought that maybe I should develop my bishop. The computer does not like that. They like me going back to c1, which is kind of hard to spot. But that's because it kind of lets me push d5, because then in those lines, b2 wouldn't be hanging, which is a very clear pawn. But nonetheless, I played rook c5. It was kind of my rook lift. Again, maybe getting it on in there somehow. Somehow, some way. I'm feeling very tired. This is definitely going to be a quick recap, everybody. All right, and then I just go for it with e4. And the reason why, what am I even threatening with e4? Good, the computer gives an excellent. I saw that he could go take, win a pawn. But I thought that was worth it to give me that pawn, to be honest. Or it was worth it for me to give a unit. How about that? So I know that he could win the pawn back. Instead, again, he has these short-term moves to take on d4. So in those lines, the Italian Alfa Romero is also under attack. All right. Move 20, e4. He now plays bishop takes on f3. Does he really? e4. Bishop takes on f3. Wow. Did he really? I obviously take back. Boom. Queen takes on f3. And he follows through with his plan. He then goes queen takes on d4. The whole time, I was thinking to myself that I would play bishop to b4 when I was calculating before, thinking that I'm supporting everything. I thought this might be kind of like a poisonous pawn, because maybe I'd then be able to move my bishop to c3, thereby attacking his queen and threatening some kind of mates. That was kind of the far-flung approach, but instead, that is not what happens. That's not what happens at all. Again, you guys can see the computer. white is barely better. Over the board, it felt like I was significantly better. And I think both of us played as though that was the case. Needless to say, with the rook taking on d4, I play a rook to c2. Again, I figured I could either drop it or move it to the devil square. I decided to drop it because why not, you know? I would rather have that spell in the bag. All right. With that in mind, he then plays rook a4, which is a move I really didn't like. I really didn't understand. He's not even really bearing down on the e-pawn. Does not make a lot of sense. So instead, sorry, I think he made a bad move for the record. With rook a4. Wasn't sure where he was going with that one. I then played bishop b4. My plan was pretty simple. I would break up the synergy of the rook and the queen, and I would also attack his knight. That's kind of like glued in there. He has some back rank issues, very much so. All right. He plays rook a2, bishop. I'm not writing this at all. All right. I'm also feeling very tired all of a sudden. Well, not like all of a sudden, but I just am very tired. Anyway, with bishop b4, I'm attacking these things. He plays queen e5 check. He kind of throws in the check, throws in the towel. I thought, again, apparently just playing g3 in this position kind of gets the job done. But I thought just simply playing back to king h1 was, f1, excuse me, was exactly where I wanted to be. He plays c5. So he's still trying to kind of attack this upstart character, if you will. Okay. In that case, we will check back in with that later. Instead, with c5, I then realize very, very quickly that I can utilize the pin. I play e to c1, rook e to c1, as is written, so shall it be. And the reason why is if he takes, I take, he then takes, I then take, and it would be checkmate. So I thought that I basically would just win a free pawn. That with him pushing it, he's kind of given it to me, and he's kind of played into my hands. So I feel pretty, happy about that. When I connect my rooks, again, I'm inviting him to relieve the tension or get this rook out of there. He then plays f5, which seems like a wild move. I don't know what that move does, if anything. Again, I still have these long-term ideas of putting the bishop on the long diagonal, looking for a mate, would be nice. But instead, all right, well, I'm going to wrap through this video very, very quickly, basically falling asleep here. It does seem as though once I've played the rook over, he then lashed out with f5. I'm considering all of these moves. I'm considering that move. I'm considering just taking. I'm considering taking like that. On all those lines, I thought that pawn takes basically fe4 would be annoying because my queen would be under attack and I don't necessarily have anything. So I thought I should just address the issue that we have, which is simply e takes f5. Pat didn't waste any time. He goes c takes. Oh, right. For this over here. For the record, if he took with the pawn or so, I knew that I always had this check on b3 with my queen, making the right triangle, but really just picking up another rook. So I knew I always had that in the back pocket. Nonetheless, after e takes on f5, he plays c takes on b4. So he's chopping into my bishop. And honestly, as soon as this is played, you guys can tell on the computers. But basically loses the game on the spot. He didn't spend much time calculating it. I had to make sure that everything was above board. Basically, schwancy wancy. I played rook takes, rook check. He plays king f7. What? That doesn't make any sense. Rook takes, rook takes. Oh, that's right. He then played knight takes on c8. I then played rook takes on c8. He then plays king f7. And here I went into my next deep thought, 15 minutes, because I was calculating all the checkmates. I didn't see it. I knew that I had ways of picking up this rook. For example, take. He'd have to take. Then I'd move my queen to b3, check. He would move his like queen to take, and then I could take. I didn't love that though, because in that line, my rook is going to be captured immediately by his queen. So I started looking at the other checks on b7 and h5, and again, after like 15 minutes, I play queen h5, and my guy resigns. He resigns here. And the reason why is I calculated if he moves up, I calculated the pawn push, I calculated moving over, and all of them, minimally, he loses this rook. Most of them, he loses the queen for nothing. I just didn't see any checkmates. But yeah, that was it. 29 move game. Again, I don't want to. No reason to like badmouth my opponent. He was rated at 1100. But I do think that I thought the game was going to be over after like 10 moves. He found a way to make it interesting. There were a few moments where I was a little bit worried, but then he kind of just gave it away, and we ended. I ended with 45 plus minutes. I think he ended with 55 minutes. So it was definitely one of the quickest games I've had in a while. Most of my games have been real slugfest, so it does feel kind of nice to have, to be honest, kind of an easier game. All right, I'm going to just do the game review real fast. I'm kind of curious how I did. Again, I feel like I played pretty well. 89%, very, very strong. Very, very strong. Yeah, and I have that one brilliant. All right, cool. Again, less analysis in this one, A, because I'm tired, but also B, because I just don't think there was not much that was needed to be necessary. I'm also exhausted. I finished with, I flipped over here, with 2.5 points. I don't medal. I'm 5th place. Overall, I thought my play this month was fine. Next month, I'll be in the U1900 again. I need to win this tournament before I can move up, so I'm here for the foreseeable future. And yeah, that's basically it. All right, have a wonderful night, everybody. Bye.